So my name is Mark Stevens. I'm the founder and principal of Origin Working Capital Solutions. I've spoken to businesses whereby they've said, look, we are not inclined to bid for X contract because we feel that there is a risk that we'll come out of it worse than we went in. But at the same time, you have large infrastructure projects um, that have targets that they need to hit and adhere to, of engaging small to medium sized businesses of subcontracting out to MWBE businesses, DBE businesses. The Hudson Gateway is a primary example. I think that's currently a $16 billion project, and 20.7% of that needs to go through DBE businesses. So equally, we speak to we speak to companies that say that they'd love to be part of these programs and projects, but they have concerns around when they're going to get paid and what strains that would put on their businesses. And indeed, when you're looking at spending $4 billion or close to it with the Hudson Gateway project through DBE businesses, these long payment cycles, and I know they're doing, a lot of these projects are doing things to assist with prompt payments and things like that now, but these create increased risks in terms of project delays, in terms of budget overspend as well. So these are the types of things that we as a business are aiming to assist with and aiming to mitigate. Now our solution, our primary solution is straightforward invoice financing. So you submit an invoice along with relevant supporting documentation. You'll receive an advance of up to 80% of the invoice value within days, and then when the prime contractor or the debtor pays the invoice, they'll pay it to us. We'll pay you the balance minus our fee. So, an example of that is $100 invoice. We'll pay $80 up front. It's paid in 90 days. We'll receive $100, and maybe we'll charge you $3 in terms of a financing fee. We'll pay you $17 back in return. Just one point I'd like to make as well. Now that I think of it, that $1 billion number. I don't want anybody to be put off by that. That doesn't mean that we're only looking to engage with the largest contractors and do the bigger deals. We are looking to go down the supply chain to the types of companies that need the financing.
Thank you for clarifying that. Very, very important aspect of this partnership. Thank you.
So some of the benefits of partnering with us: well, fast access to capital. So immediate access to funds at invoice acceptance, avoidance of long waiting periods, simple process. We don't like bureaucracy any more than you. So there's quick onboarding. There are clear fees. We don't have hidden fees. I know that some of the factoring businesses out there, they're 5 different types of fees, and it's all in the small print. You think you're paying one number, and you end up paying two times that number. You'll get a headline rate, and that's what you're paying. And we're here to support your growth. That's the exciting bit for us, because the more you grow, the more opportunity we'll have to fund you, the more opportunity we'll have to deploy capital. So we want your business to grow. We will help you in the bidding process, for example. So if you need a letter of support from us to say, look, this company can bid with confidence on this contract, here's a letter saying that they will be funded if they win this business, then then we're absolutely willing to do that. And we aim to provide tailored solutions for contractors. No one contract is the same. No one business is the same. So what we aim to offer is specialized support and flexible financing, regardless of largely regardless of contract size.
Mark, we have a question in the chat from our member Anita Pierce. The question
I
reads,
need it.
would you have to assign the contract over to your organization, as in origin or chamber?
So we don't lend directly from our balance sheet, so it would be off through a lending vehicle that we will lend. The contract itself would not need to be assigned. The invoices under the contract would be assigned. And that then enables us to take control of inward payments to ensure that we're paid as and when the prime or the relevant debtor pays. I hope that answered that question. So we have a dual approach.
Follow-up question. I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
Ann Wilson, what is the criteria for invoice acceptance?
Largely that it has been accepted by the debtor. So it's been submitted. There is supporting documentation behind it to show that the work has been completed, and there is confirmation from the debtor that they have accepted the invoice. And really, all we're looking at is a period of time for them to pay it. So it's a when rather than if situation.
Thank you.
So we have a top-down and bottom-up approach. So as I say, a dual approach in terms of how we do things. Now, on the top-down approach, we look at project-level partnerships. So we'll work directly with prime contractors, directly with project managers, project governance authorities. We're dealing with two of the larger infrastructure projects in the country at the moment on how we can assist them on a project-wide level, ensure that their subcontractors are supported and their subcontractors are paid in a timely manner. So what we're aiming to do there is provide comprehensive funding across an entire program, possibly to all subcontractors involved in a project, but of course the subcontractor gets to choose whether they want our financing or not. So to at least to offer it to all subcontractors involved in a project. And by doing that, we can have a seamless project-wide integration in terms of how we do it. So that's one way of how we work. The other way is what we call a bottom-up approach. So you don't need to you don't need to be involved in a big project to be relevant to our financing. So we'll look to directly support and work with individual subcontractors that need financing for the contracts that they're working on, and these can be single contracts with a single body, or it can be part of a larger program. And as I say, we like to pride ourselves on having a simple, streamlined process in terms of how we onboard our suppliers. So getting started with us, pretty simple. You fill out a simple online form with business details. We'll then review that. There'll generally be 1 to 2 either telephone conversations or meetings that we'll have during the process, where we get a good feel for your business, what you're doing now, what you're looking to do in the future, and how we can assist. You'll be required to upload some documents through our secure portal, so we can look at contracts, sample invoices, things like that. As I say, if you're in the process of bidding for a contract, then it's a slightly different process whereby we'll most likely do stage one, and then and part of stage two, but of course you won't have the sample invoices, the contracts, and things like that to give us at that point. But we will get you to a point where we can give you comfort and confidence that if you win the bid, then there is financing behind you, and then potentially you can price that into your bid as well. But generally, if you are if you are currently engaged in a relevant contract, would ask you to upload that document. We will run some automated checks in real time via some of the software that we have, so that we can verify certain aspects of your business, and then we would do the underwriting for the transaction. That normally takes 1 to 2 weeks, and we would then approve and give you confirmation of eligibility with tailored terms, execute documentation, be ready to fund. So that is the relevant parts of our business, let's say, in a nutshell. I haven't wanted to bore you with too many in-depth details. I wanted to keep it quite high level at this stage. I'm sure there will be other questions, and I wanted to ensure that we have adequate time to engage and answer those questions. As you can see here, these are our contact details. So if you want to reach out directly, then we would be very welcoming of that. Equally, we may reach out to you to understand what your needs are and how we might be able to assist. But thank you very much, and I'd like to open the floor for any questions.
Yeah, can I go back to the question I had about the invoice acceptance, which you answered in the slide right before this one, but I just had an additional question. And thank you so much, Mark. This is wonderful, and thank you, Tony. Once you go through that process initially that you just described, that sort of 4-step process.
Yep.
For subsequent invoices, is it still the same process, or is it streamlined a little bit?
Oh, it's streamlined. So the beginning of the process is actually us understanding you as a business, us underwriting the transaction, understanding the contract. But once you're submitting invoices to us under that contract, there's a lot of work that we don't need to do.
Okay.
So it is, but we'll still need to see the relevant invoice, the relevant supporting documentation that we agree will be required on each invoice in order to release funding. But it's a very streamlined process at that point.
Okay. And is funding is released once the project is completed, or is it midway during a project? You know, like is it staged, or is it
as you submit invoices? So whatever the contractual terms around how you get paid are, as you're submitting invoices, we will pay you. So if it's an 8-month project, we don't need you to get through that 8 months of work and show that you've done everything.
Right.
You just need to submit the relevant invoices over time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I saw a previous question from one of our members, Andre Goodby. Are you still on? Well, I think.
Yes, I'm still on. Yes.
Okay. Well, go ahead and ask your question.
When you talk about your contracts, is it pertaining to federal or state contracts?
Federal, state, and some municipalities as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions in the chat or in real time?
So I have some I have a few inquiries that were submitted online. So one of the questions were, other than construction, what other sectors or industries would you fund?
We are fairly sector agnostic. In fact, I would say that generally for this type of business, construction is one of the harder ones to finance. So we're comfortable with construction. So a lot of the other sectors are easier. So we're just to give you an example of what we're doing, some of the deals that we're pushing through at the moment. We have a company that has contracts under a federal program to replace lead water pipes in various parts of the country. So we're doing that. Another water related one, whereby this company is engaged by a municipality in Ohio to put in place smart water meters. They have a contract to do 300,000 smart water meters. We are looking at companies that are working under certain FEMA programs, FEMA grants for debris removal and the like. We're talking to a cybersecurity company that has a state contract. So, as I say, fairly sector agnostic.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, there's a follow-up to that, Mark, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but as a follow-up, would you fund an acceleration program?
Tell me how the acceleration program would work.
Well, no, basically, the company providing the program would engage with, let's say, another company to provide 100 seats for people to learn how to open and launch a business. And there would be a cost for that. And the program would be, let's say, 6 to 8 months, which sort of speaks to Anthony's fourth pillar, his entrepreneur, training and development that the Upstate Black Chamber is always interested in. So I would be curious to know whether or not that would be the kind of model that you would be involved with. And maybe this isn't the right time, but I just was following up with the previous person's question.
If that is funded by a federal or state body, so rather than the people being trained having to fund it themselves, because that we have a certain mandate where what we're looking to do is take federal, state, or possibly municipal risk.
Yeah. Okay.
So if that is funded under a federal or state or potentially municipal program, then we would absolutely be very interested in discussing that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hi, this is Constance Jefferson with the City of Rochester, New York. I have a question regarding, you said you work with federal, state, and some municipalities. What does a municipality have to do to take advantage of an opportunity like this? Because we get a lot of huge projects in lead, water, which you just mentioned, and
we're really,
and we get a lot of huge projects on infrastructure, around infrastructure through a program through New York State called Rock the River. So I'm just wondering, what would a municipality like ours have to do to be able to take advantage of this with our contractors and subcontractors?
Yeah. So I believe that the lead water pipe replacement is it's actually federal money that you'll draw down from the state revolving fund. If it's the same as so we would view that as federal money. Would absolutely be extremely keen to assist you with that. So so there are two elements here. As I've stated, if it's federal or state money coming down, then we treat that as a federal or state program.
Okay.
If it is just pure city-based work, then we have to look at that a little bit differently, because our end risk is with the city, and then we would look at primarily what the credit rating, how strong a credit the municipality is. I'm not sure what Rochester's credit rating is,
AAA.
or AAA. Perfect. Then would be interested in having discussion. Absolutely.
Okay. And so I guess my question then becomes, is there any particular way would we contact you if this is something that we want to explore more? Because we do a lot of city funding for projects where we would get state and federal money, but we also include what we call SIP money, which is our capital improvement program monies. So we add that to it so that we can do the larger projects.
Yeah. So
I
I
just put your
think
information in the chat, Mark.
great. Yeah. So look, my contact details are up on the screen as well.
Okay.
But let's arrange a time to have a conversation so we can discuss this at length.
Okay.
Really keen to help. On those type of projects. Equally, one thing that Senard and I are looking at are some of these affordable housing grants as well.
Bingo. That was my next question.
Yeah, and a lot of those, and you'll know a lot more about this than me, but my understanding is it's the reimbursement grants. So that you've got to spend the money first and then you get reimbursed.
Right.
And that can delay things as well. So we're very, very interested in assisting on those.
Okay. Thank you.
I think there's quite a lot for us to discuss.
Definitely.
Oh my, good morning. Good morning. So sorry to chime in. Good morning, Sinead. I'm in so much going on. Well, thank you for the reminder. Just wanted to say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sylvia. Thank you for
Nice to hear
joining
from you,
us.
Sylvia.
Yes. I am to connect with Mark again. It was definitely a pleasure meeting you last month. We have so much on our plate. But I wanted to follow up with you, Mark, as far as on the grant side I was mentioning in the email. So I would like to schedule a conference call with my business partner. That's something that we would like to do, because we're in the midst of doing that. So
Okay.
there's a ton of stuff that we're gonna get to do. So sorry about it. It's just it's a lot.
No problem. Look, I'm in town until Wednesday, but I'm fairly jammed. I think I was supposed to go down to Orlando, but the guy in Orlando's just told me not to come down because there's a hurricane coming.
Yes.
Oh yes.
So I'll probably be back up here. I'm in DC on Wednesday. I'll probably be back up here Thursday, Friday. So let's stay in touch. Maybe we can meet up, or maybe let's just have a call.
Yes, for sure. For follow up on that. It's a tons of stuff. So thank you so much, Sinead, for the reminder.
You're welcome, Sylvia.
Hi, this is Ronnie Heinrich. I have a question. I jumped on late, so this may have been answered, and so my apologies if it's redundant. I have functioned as a contractor on businesses that have federal bids for business in an administrative capacity. I am now in the embryonic stages of investigating whether I want to start my own company, so that I am now hiring the contractors and bid for these government contracts. It's not the infrastructure aspect of it. You seem to kind of focus a lot on infrastructure, but you did mention you had a cybersecurity company that you were helping, which kind of opened the door for this conversation and this question. So I wondered if you had a company who had wanted to secure funding for and to go after a federal contract to do administrative support for one of the federal agencies, is that something your organization would look to potentially partner with?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, it's quite a simple one for us to finance. So yes, we would be very keen. So you'd basically bid for the federal business, and then you'd subcontract it out to subcontractors, and you'd manage the relationship. Is that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, we would.
Okay.
Would be keen on that. We
That's
can
good to know.
provide assistance, and we can potentially provide documentation, supportive documentation when you're bidding as well, so that federal bodies know that you are funded.
Wonderful. That's good to know. I'll keep your information. And as I progress in this process, I will definitely circle back. I appreciate your time.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Ronnie.
Do you have any more questions in the chat, or do you have any more on your end, Sanaa?
I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Hi, Anita.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Anita Pierce, founder and CEO of 11375. A lot of the work that I'm engaged in is technical assistance and support for very small businesses that are looking to enter into the contracting space. And what I do is I service Prime, and they sub under me to get credibility in the areas that they're looking to engage in. So I was curious about, is there a specific criteria that you're looking for? And do you also support very small businesses that are just starting up under the 3-year mark? So I work with the 1 to 3 year and then above 3 year. They do have some access to capital, but not a significant amount, and are looking to veer off into their own to be able to secure the larger contracts instead of being under my umbrella as Prime.
Okay, so they're aiming to sort of graduate from your umbrella.
Right.
That makes
So
sense.
so the goal is to try to have them not work under me as a Prime forever, and that they're able to gain access to their own partners, or direct contracts with the city and state, specifically in New York. So I was curious in terms of, what you're offering. Does it could it also connect with those very small businesses that may not have the street credibility
Yeah.
immediately?
Yeah, and look, we're used to that. If you look at a supply chain, and I won't name the company. There's a very large company that we worked with in my last business. And you look at their supply chain, and you look at the very big end of the scale. You've got huge companies that are supplying this particular organization, and then you go down that supply chain to the other end, where you've got very, very, very small companies doing cleaning services and factories and things like that. And at the big end of the scale, these massive companies don't need it. And the further you go down the supply chain, the more these organizations require funding. And what I always look to do is almost circumvent the history, the balance sheet of the company. Look at the contract, and look at their past performance under other contracts. So are they good suppliers? Do they have high dilutions or low dilutions? And so are they a good supplier? Not necessarily are they a big supplier. Do they have a contract that is of requisite size for us to finance, and that number varies depending on a number of variables. And who am I taking risk on? And that's the thing. And what we look to do is distill our risk down away from that supplier or that contractor to who the end obligor is, which typically municipal, state or federal. So sorry, that was a fairly long answer to a short question, but the answer is yes, we would look at that.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have another question in the chat. So at present, we are bidding on a facility that looks like assisted living. Is that something you would work with us on? Also expanding our business. We just answered that question. But
Yeah,
the-
expanding your business. We want you to expand your business, and we want to, we're all about alignment of interest, and your interests are expanding your business, and our interests are assisting to facilitate you in expanding your business, because that will enable us to develop a deeper relationship and to deploy more capital and expand our business. So that alignment of interest is really, really important. In terms of assisted living, I'd need to understand what how the structure of the engagement is, but by the sounds of it, it sounds like that you would be providing assisted living services for a
Seniors.
government entity of
Right.
some sort.
So Brian, can you unmute yourself? If when you say assisted living, I know there's a lot of senior affordable housing and senior assisted living housing going up, and I know some of that is federally funded under the SARA program. But Bruin, if you can fill us in a little bit about the contract and the subsidies that surround it. Oh.
We can we can
offline. Okay. Got it.
connect offline and discuss that.
Does anyone else have any more questions? Oh, I did see a question in the chat. So Mark, one of the questions was, do you provide funding for materials for these government projects?
We would unlikely be able to assist with that, because that would mean that we're funding prior to an invoice being issued, in all likelihood, unless there was some nuance in the contract which meant that it was structured in a different way. But that would be difficult for us to assist with, unfortunately.
But would materials be a part of the contract with the government? Like, wouldn't materials and labor be the actual invoice for the job?
Yes, but the materials would have to be purchased before,
Right, by the company.
and the company to deliver them, use them, install them before that invoice is issued. So therefore, we would be required in that instance to fund prior to work taking place, I believe. But if we're talking about that material being part of an invoice, and that material has been purchased, has been been delivered or utilized or installed or whatever, and that is part of the invoice, then yes, we could.
Okay.
So it's more for the reimbursement of equipment, not the purchase of, if I'm hearing correctly.
Yeah, materials. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
So Mark, next steps in terms of how do people reach out? Do you want them to email you? Is that
I think anyone with further questions, anyone that's really that's interested in discussing things further with us, or that the particular topic has resonated today, I'd absolutely encourage you to reach out directly. That's what we're here for. Send an email to myself and Sinard, and we'll come back and arrange a time to speak. Likewise, what I think we'll do is do a bit of an outreach directly to to everybody that's been on this call or signed up to this call as well, just so that they've got our details and know specifically how to get hold of us.
Thank you so much, Mark, and thank you so much, Tony, for hosting this event.
And if I can also add something to next steps, it's very important as we move forward with this partnership that it include a level of engagement, not just with our partners, but with the chamber. I know Mark mentioned earlier, that he had become a member. So I would encourage all of you on this Zoom, if you are not already or if you haven't renewed, to become a member of the chamber, not just to become a member of the chamber, but when our members are engaging with other members, we've learned that there is a different level of accountability that takes place along our engagement between us and our members on each side of a service being delivered. So I think it's very important going forward, because internally we here contemplated whether or not it was too soon to do this and whether or not we were going to do it just for members. But we felt that it was such an important resource and opportunity that it didn't make sense to kind of withhold it in general, but also because Mark and Origin had become a member. And so we have a commitment and an obligation to honor their membership as well. But I say that, when I mentioned earlier about our fifth pillar of chamber development is literally that. It is members becoming part of our chamber, members connecting with each other, members being connected to our national platform throughout U.S. Black chambers and our other 170 plus chambers. It's receiving state and national level resources when applicable. It's a level of engagement that doesn't just mean you exist where you're located, but you're connected to a national and in some cases global organization that is U.S. Black Chambers. So just an encouragement to become a member. I believe Tracy is who handles our membership has placed her email contact information in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. And I would encourage all of you to either become a member or renew your membership so we can have a stronger chamber and more member-to-member benefit engagement. So thank you.
Thanks, Tony. And just to reiterate a couple of things there, from my personal experience, I was lucky enough to be invited to the US Black Chambers Policy Brunch in Washington, D.C. So I got to sit there for a couple of hours and listen to some of the inspiring stories and some of the things that the chambers are engaged in, some of the ways in which they're assisting businesses nationwide. And I would heavily encourage people, if you haven't joined, to join. I think it's been certainly a really positive thing for my business. And in terms of engagement, to me that's the key thing. We welcome engagement. We are aiming to create a product that is that will evolve and that is tailored to the types of businesses that we're looking to finance. And the only way that we can evolve that product and to tailor it in the way that we want to is by having that level of engagement. So we really encourage that. But I'd also like to thank you all for your time today and for the level of engagement. I'm very happy that I managed to answer any questions and wasn't stumped too many times. So thank you very much, and we look forward to being in touch soon.
And yes, I want to second that in closing. Thank you all for joining us today for what we believe is a unique opportunity to support our members and our businesses. As I mentioned earlier, I've never heard of this type of resource being offered to underserved, underrepresented MWBE. So that makes this opportunity unique, as far as I know, to our organization. And as we move forward with this partnership, we are going to look to introduce it throughout the entire U.S. Black Chambers ecosystem, which is over 300,000 business members. Now, they all may not be MWBE or contract specific, but just to kind of let you know, the unique moment that we're in is that this is essentially a pilot program for us to continue the metaphor, to get off the runway. So this is exciting that all of you took the time to join us today. And once again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank my colleague, Ms. Jackson, for joining us. And I want to thank Sanaa for facilitating. And of course, last but not least, I want to thank Mr. Mark Stevens and Origin Working Capital Solutions for finding us in the universe. And look forward to working with you. And I'll see you in DC in a couple of days.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day and a great week.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye,
Sean.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.